Hello everyone, I am Jayshree for MyStartupTV, bringing you news about the startup community in Africa all the way for MyStartupTV. So today on the guest, we have Agudor Agabas, a very important waste tech management company is named AppCyclers. He has founded and he is running it Tamale in northern Ghana. In spite of very few resources, he is running a very successful company there. Here is something very interesting for our Indian audience. He recently traveled to India to learn more about clean tech, and Agabas here will take over the conversation. Welcome to the show, Agabas, and we are very excited you are here.
Thank you very much, Yashari, and namaskar to all your viewers in India. And I'm truly honored to be joining you from Ghana.
So I request all the viewers right now to look up on app cyclers on the internet. You'd be very excited to see what kind of work they are doing in northern Ghana. And let's start by trying to understand a little bit of about app cyclers and its mission. So I have a few questions here. Agabas, can you start telling us about AppCycler and its mission to promote sustainable e-waste management in Tamale?
So, AppCycler is a social enterprise which was founded in 2019, and we are based, as you rightfully mentioned, in the northern part of Ghana, which is called Tamale. We started as a result of young individuals coming together in a hackathon to really find innovative solutions in solving e-waste problem. So that was where, together with my team, we came to realize what electronic waste is, and we're able to put together some solutions to basically see how we can contribute our quota in solving the e-waste menaces generally. So we emerged winners of the hackathon, and that was where the journey of AppCyclers started. So we are a startup. We basically use data analysis, web technology, and community sensitizational programs to ensure that electronic waste is safely collected and disposed of in a sound and environmental friendly way. We do have our flagship product, which is basically a web-based platform that is digitalizing the whole value chain of electronic waste in terms of the collection, in terms of sourcing, and then in terms of purchasing of most of this material. Our goal is basically to ensure that we increase the volumes of electronic waste, and as well to be able to ensure that all recyclable raw materials are being able to recover in an ethical way that would really help in enforcing remanufacturing and as well as promoting a circular economy environment where we live in. Yes.
What challenges did you initially face in starting AppCyclers, and perhaps you could tell us about how you overcame them?
A young graduate graduating from the university with less knowledge on the e-waste industry, because the e-waste industry was also an emerging sector, and with no little infrastructure available as well as no information. So it was very, very difficult to basically step on ground. But then we were very passionate about what we were doing because we basically find the social intervention aspect whereby we'll be able to help prevent pollution onto the environment and as well as looking at the economic potentials out of it. So we really kept in the necessary resources that we have to be able to build the company up till now. So most of the challenges were basically lack of the enabling environment for us to thrive on, lack of infrastructure, and even capital to really fuel the operational activities of the company, because these were not sort of in terms of the investor perspective way people would be kind of investors would be slow in putting much more of their investments, looking at restarting at that time. Okay, yeah, so that was the basic challenge we encountered basically starting, but we really kept in much more effort, the energy to really ensure that we keep on doing what we expected to do, and then we're able to build a greater product till now.
Would you mind telling our audience how do you collect and process e-waste in Tamale, and if the weak digital infrastructure, poor internet, does it come as a hindrance, or have you like found a way around that problem?
What we basically do in terms of facilitating collection is currently we use our digital platform, which is the web base, of which when an individual or an organization wants to dispose of their electronic waste, they firstly reach out to us on the platform, they request for pickup of their electronic waste, and then we are able to go pick it up from their various location. Secondly, we do also have drop-off points available that people, consumers can really drop off their electronic waste off there, and then we'll be able to pick it up and then safely dismantle most of those material. So this is what we currently putting in place to ensure that we are able to collect much more electronic waste from the environment. Yeah.
Would be all linked to your recent travel to India, especially what you have learned in the recent trip. Tell us what brought you to India and what did you learn about e-waste recycling technologies there?
To be frank, rightfully, starting AppCyclers was basically from the help of imitating most of the Indian recycling firms and startups. So basically, reading a lot of papers, research papers online, and then following a lot of most of this recycling firm. And I was really grateful when we started. Great thanks to Dr. Dipali, who is an Indian, who really took us through the hackathon and ensured that we really understood most of those processes. So Dr. Dipali has been a great influence onto what we're doing at AppCycler. So we've been able to learn from what Indians are doing, and then replicating it in Ghana was one of the strategic ways. So coming into notice that GIZ was organizing a field trip to India for e-waste recyclers, I was super excited, and greatly I kept in an application, and I was selected among the 10 people that was basically selected, 10 recyclers selected from Ghana to basically have a greater experience in the e-waste management scene in India. And trust me, when we got there, it was really inspiring. We basically got to learn a whole lot of business models in terms of how Indians operate with regards to working with the local scrap dealers and ensuring that various business models are being integrated. The various sectors in terms of plastic, in terms of thermoplastic, in terms of battery, in terms of the tech aspect of it also. Okay, so it was really interesting, inspiring, and then exciting to really learn a whole lot of technologies as well. And one of the most interesting things for me is knowing that Indians themselves build their own recycling machines to really ensure that most of the manufacturing products that are being used in the recycling processes are built from the grassroots, from scratch by Indians, which is really marvelous. And we look forward in seeing how we'll be able to collaborate to ensure that we are also doing that currently in Ghana. Yep.
Which cities in India did you visit?
I think we were in Bangalore and then as well as New Delhi.
How do you see these new technologies impacting e-waste management in Tamale or Ghana in general?
Currently, in terms of technology, I think we are doing our best, but not to the maximum epic as compared to India. Currently, what we really ensuring is basically to put the necessary infrastructures available. There are less recyclers with the kind of state-of-art recycling facilities such as what we saw in India. So really ensuring that most of the infrastructures are kept in place, and then as well as the value chain within the industry are being um, explicitly known in terms of who are collectors, in terms of who are the recyclers, in terms of producers coming in to support recyclers to take back most of the electronic waste, the EPR schemes and stuff to be kept in place to ensure that the whole value chain of the electronic waste system is being robust. In terms of technology, we are basically championing to see how we'll be able to effectively use our digital platform to ensure that we are able to connect various local recyclers within the ecosystem, whereby most of these various local recyclers will be able to explicitly source recyclable raw materials, and as well as to be able to make the necessary benefits in terms of pricing mechanisms and in terms of even getting off takers to be on board and supporting most of this value chain. So digitalizing the whole value chain is what we are looking at. Is currently picking up, but then it's on a slower pace. So we're ensuring that we be able to penetrate into the industry, and then we'll be able to bring forth new technologies as well.
What has been the impact of AppCyclers on the Tamale community so far? You can cover environmental, social, and maybe even economic impact.
Currently, in terms of environment, we've been able to basically create some awareness among the various local communities that we live in. We've been able to build much more capacity in terms of people knowing how, where, and how to discard off most of their electronic waste. We've collected over 45 tons of electronic waste from reaching out into the environment only in Tamale. And in terms of economic, we sort of work with the local recyclers here as well. So we've been able to, in a way, provide livelihood to over 100 local recyclers within the value chain in Tamale here, that we cordially work with them, ensure that they get the best value of their of their operational activities that they are embarking on. The longer goal is basically to ensure that we become a Pan-African go-to marketplace whereby everything recyclable, everything electronic waste would be able to be collected, would be able to be sourced, and would be able to be basically reused into safely promote circular economy and then a greener and safer environment in Ghana as well.
That would be, in a way, your long-term goals for AppCyclers.
Yes,
And what
yes.
advice would you give to other aspiring entrepreneurs who are passionate about sustainability in Africa?
Regardless of whatever you're doing, I think if you really have the passion for what you do and you really want to solve a problem, you should be able to put in all the necessary efforts and the little resources available to ensure that on a daily basis you are doing something that would really help you pragmatically to basically achieve a greater thing. So this will be my advice, and this has been most of the strategies we kept in place to be able to ensure that we are valuable within the ecosystem, and we are also being able to employ a lot of people, provide livelihood for a lot of people, and ensure that electronic waste is also collected for safer recycling.
You have spoken about resources that helped you form an idea about AppCyclers and put various ideas in place. If our viewers want to learn about e-waste recycling and sustainability, what kind of resources would you recommend them to look for and search for, maybe on the internet or any books or podcasts that you that really helpful just for like information purposes? What do you recommend?
Yeah, so in terms of informations, in terms of courses, I think UNITA really champion most of this. You can find the global e-waste monitor reports on a yearly basis. They do bring forth much more reports detailing strategically most of the key data you would have to know, the insight, and as well as most of the trends available. So those are one of the critical ways. I think ITU, International Telecom Union, also kind of offer some courses that you'd be able to take to really ensure that you have the basic knowledge in terms of policy, in terms of how electronic wastes should be collected, safely dismantled. So these are the various platform that you can basically get much more information data to be able to build up on your startup. Yeah.
What do you think of in general the if you had any interactions with the startup community in India? If yes, what were your impressions? And I will add one more questions after you answer that one. Please tell me.
Yes, I think I met a few I met a few online on LinkedIn. We were hoping to meet up, but unfortunately, but then I think most of the startups in India are truly doing awesome work. One of which is Recycler, and yeah, those guys are really doing well, and we really look forward to becoming like what they are really doing. Okay, they being a pan-Indian digital platform, which is really facilitating most of these processes. So we look forward in becoming one of those startups. And yeah, I think Indian is really awesome, and really looking forward to be back anytime soon. Looking forward in building much more partnerships with the network we built there, building relationships with a whole lot of key stakeholders within the value chain that will really ensure that we'll be able to transfer knowledge and also share ideas within the two continents. Yeah.
You actually took me to the next question naturally. Broadly speaking, how do you think the startup ecosystems in India and African countries can support each other, learn from each other, and in a way push each other further? I'll tell our audience something that very few people know, that while the population of India is 1.3 billion and crossing, the total population of all the African countries is also standing at 1.4 billion. They are an exciting and very young market right now, and the whole world is looking at Africa with, because it's like
Yeah.
a hotbed of a lot of potential. Please go ahead, Agabas.
Actually, you've said it all. I think one of the very ways is having most of this exchange of knowledge and exchange of ideas and as well as technologies to really learn about the culture, to really learn about some social vices, to really get to know what can be replicated within both countries, and as well share a lot of informations and knowledge once a while. So these are some of the things that basically we'll be looking out for, and getting the opportunity to travel. It's basically coming to Indian, and as well Indians also coming to Ghana to basically learn from what we're doing here as well. So basically that's what I'll be able to iterate on.
That's fantastic. It's a beautiful vision, and I hope it comes true. Thank you so much for your valuable time, Agabas. We are really thankful that you were able to join us. I'm sure our audience has learned a lot about AppCyclers and its mission in Tamale and the concept of e-waste management as a whole. I hope many of them go back and look up on the terms like circular economy and such similar concepts, and even the names of Dr. Deepali and the startups in India that you were mentioning. It was quite informative. Thank you so very much for joining us today. I wish you all the best, and I wish your team also the very best with AppCyclers.
Thank you very much, Yashri, and then the startup team. I'm really grateful for having me, and I look forward to most of the greater impact that will come forward soon. Thank you very much. Namaskar.
To stay informed about the startup ecosystem, subscribe to My Startup TV.